Okay, hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining me for our January Council Roundtable. And I'm really excited to see how many people are here tonight because our big rock topic is a topic I'm very excited about, which is spring recruitment. And we've got some volunteers who've been working very hard to come up with a plan for that. And I've got some folks here to help me talk about that tonight. Before we get to that, a couple announcemements, and let's of course open up our roundtable with the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law. So if you would go ahead and mute yourself for that. We know it works better if we do that, and rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the Scout Law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Okay, very excited to see everybody here, like I said, and we do continue to have folks join us, which is great. Maybe we'll hit our cap of 100 for the first time. That would be pretty exciting. And to start us off, before we talk about the big thing, which I think is membership, a couple announcements from some folks on our team. One of those, the first one related to Silver Beaver, and I do see Ryan here tonight as well as Stuart. Would either of you like to tackle this slide here?
I'll take it. The Silver Beaver nominations usually close at the end of December, but with the pandemic and not being able to meet in person and promote this, we have extended the deadline for Silver Beaver nominations until February the 28th. So if you have any nominations, please get them in. We have a date for the Silver Beaver recognition event. It's going to be May the 5th. At Anchorage, a very similar format to what we had for the last event.
Okay, great. Thank you, Stuart. And then we do have some updates about our two Klondike derbies, and I think I have Rick Surbeyer here as well as Ryan Teat. Would either of you like to speak about your upcoming events?
Happy to. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, everyone, and good evening. This is Ryan Teat down here at Henson Scout Reservation. The Southern Area Klondike Derby has been rescheduled. It is going to take place here at Henson April 16th through 18th. Any units that were registered for that were given for the first event that was to take place in January. 100% refunds were given on all existing registrations, and units will have to create new ones for the event to take place in April.
Yeah, similarly, the Klondike Derby that was scheduled for January at Rodney has been postponed and is also being rescheduled for April. We are right now between two dates. Either the 23rd through 25th of April or the 30th of April through the 2nd of May. Surveys going out to troops that would typically participate in that Klondike, and we'll have that date picked very shortly.
Okay, super. All right, so we know that a scout is helpful, and obviously, when we're out helping, that's one of the best ways for us to get out in the community and have folks see us doing good deeds and good things. So I'm really excited to share that our staff advisor for the Scouting for Food campaign this year is Kelly Witt, the Sussex District Executive. So I'd like to invite Kelly to speak for a couple minutes about the Spring Scouting for Food campaign.
Yes, thanks, Dan. I'm very excited for Scouting for Food. We have just finalized some details to be able to share with you all this evening. As many of you are probably already familiar with, Scouting for Food is a council-wide initiative to help combat hunger in our communities that we serve. We all know this past year, as much as we try to forget about 2020, was devastating to many families. COVID-19 has added an extra struggle, and we don't want to see anyone go hungry. So we are really hoping for a big push, great participation, increased participation to help stock the local food pantries and food banks of Delmarva Council. And as the oath states, to help other people at all times is part of our oath, and this is one way that we can do that. We have set a tentative timeline, which will begin sooner than later. If you can go ahead and flip one over for me there, Dan. So between now and March 1st, you'll sign up to participate, and that when we have the signups to participate, you'll get your materials, sign up to how you want to receive those. I know some folks already have materials left from November. If you need more or you need materials, there'll be an area for that will go live soon. So between now and March 1st, we want to get you to sign up with your information and how much materials you need. For March 13th and 14th, that weekend, you'll distribute your bags in your community. We are going to ask this year that you work with your district scouting or food chair and or your district activities and civic service chair. We would like to kind of map out the districts and make sure that we're covering all grounds. So if you're unsure where to go or communities that your PAC or troop serves or ship, we want to make sure that we are covering the entire area, subdivisions, and whatever we can do to canvass the entire district, so then the entire council. That following weekend of March 20th to 21st will be when you go back and pick up those bags from your community. And we are looking to, between that week, so after that Sunday, unless you can make arrangements with a local organization for that Sunday, to drop that food that you collect off to a local food bank or food pantry. Our hope is to really help with the spring break when a lot more families are at home. Easter falls very early this year, so April 4th. So this will be that week before the food banks and food pantries will be putting out the packages to help the families in need through the holiday and spring break. By April 1st, we would like you to record your food totals. This will go live, and new this year, this will go live soon. We'll have those up and running on the website, and all this information will be updated on the website very soon. We actually just nailed down these details this afternoon. So on this next slide, you'll see why we have that deadline in there. Oh, actually, I apologize. I forgot that one was in there. Go ahead and go back, Dan. If you didn't see them, in November, we got these wonderful door hangers. They represent our Scouting for Food program, information, how it works. So when you drop those bags, you can do the door hangers as well. It's a great way to explain. It has the link for them to check out the website and get further information. New this year, we wanted to try something a little different. And on this next slide, you'll see we have a little contest going in here. We want to see those photos. We want to see the scouts in action and your collection of food items. So throughout the initiative, just make sure you take some photos, which hopefully you guys do anyway. But those that share at least one photo and record their food totals by that April 1st deadline will be entered into a drawing for a Dutch oven or an equivalent gift. So a great little extra incentive to get out there and make sure that you're sharing and we can record those totals. Unfortunately, 2020, as we all know, we didn't get a lot of participation. There were different things that affected families from being able to participate. And we would really like to get out there to help the communities, help those in need. So if you do have any questions, make sure you just reach out to your district Scouting for Food chair or your district activities and civic service chair. If you don't know who that is, Just reach out to me. I am happy to help as we get the information up. And as always, you can visit the website and that information will be up to date as soon as possible. And keep an eye out. There will be some further communications via email to the units very soon as well. And thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to you, Dan.
Hey, thank you very much, Kelly. And, folks, I know we're about to start talking about a big spring recruitment campaign that we're all hoping is really successful. And our scouts getting out and doing good deeds and doing community service is the best marketing that we could possibly ask for. So if you're representing a unit tonight that you're hoping is going to have a few new scouts here in a couple of months, participating in the Scouting for Food campaign is one of the best things you can do to ensure that happens. So Kelly, really glad that you're going to be the staff leader for this campaign. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about spring recruitment. So I would actually like to turn it over to Jim Demas, who was part of our volunteer committee that planned this whole effort. So he can share a little bit about how they put this together and what the plan is.
Thanks, Dan. I had the pleasure of working with a number of people over the last 4 Monday nights to talk about spring recruitment. And feel free to raise your hand in the Zoom if you were one of those great people. And when thinking about spring recruitment, we had 3 big questions that we had. How can council and district and the unit support a springtime recruitment event, even though we're still going to have obstacles like COVID restrictions and limited school access? The second one is we're going to bring all sorts of new people into our packs and troops and other units. How can we address advancement concerns? And the third one is how can we assure that scouting is affordable for those scouts who are joining and get them to attend day camp and resident camp and lots of other activities going forward. We all know it's been a rough 2020 and recruiting was rough as well. But hopefully by the springtime, people are going to be tired of Zoom meetings, tired of being inside. They're going to want to get out and do good things, and we need to have scouting ready for them to come join so that they can unplug from their video games and devices and get out and scout with us. And that's the name of the campaign this year, Get Out and Scout. So we're looking to, in the March and April timeframe, to have units working with their unit commissioners and district executives to put on a spring membership similar to what we do in September every year to bring more people into the program.
Okay, I think it's back to me, right, Jim? I don't
Yes,
want
sir.
to cut you off. Okay, good stuff. All right, so Jim kind of pointed out that we had 3 questions that the committee was trying to answer, and those were related essentially to recruitment, advancement, and fundraising. So I'm going to talk about the first of those, which is recruitment. And one of the things that we decided or recognized was that recruitment up in Cecil District might not look the same as recruitment down in Virginia District. And all of our different districts, all of the communities that we live in have different realities that affect what recruitment can look like in that community, whether it's a different COVID rule in one town than the town next door, or the school district has different rules, whatever it is. So the way that the district volunteers chose to approach this was to create kind of like an a la carte menu or a list of options that our units can choose from, and they can come up with their own options as well. But we wanted to give you some ideas, and get together with our unit leaders to come up with a plan together and see how we can support the plan that you develop with your district professional or with a representative from your district committee, like a membership volunteer from the district, anyone like that. So you can look forward probably over the next couple of weeks here over the month of February to hearing from those kinds of folks, because we would love to get together with you and talk about a plan that works for your unit that can be successful given whatever circumstances your unit is in, and that we can support to ensure that we're helping you achieve success. So you can see some of the options we came up with there. Some of them are ones that look pretty familiar. Bring a friend. We always talk about that. Our door hangers, and some other ones there that, of course, you can read. You don't need me to read them all out to you. One of our big focuses, and Harry's going to talk about this in a minute, but I wanted to allude to it for just a second, is going to be working with the school districts. And like Jim said, everybody's hurting from staying inside right now, and our school districts are well aware of that. So we need to go to them and present ourselves as the solution to that pain the community is feeling. So what we're going to be offering to do is to work with you to plan a community event, something that's affordable, something that doesn't take a lot of resources to pull off, that we can offer to the people living in your community in those school districts. Put it all together, we'll put them all together on a calendar, and then we can send that to the school district and ask them to send it out to all those families. So all of a sudden, all of those families during the month of March and April, they're not going to be necessarily stuck inside. They're going to have this huge list of cool activities that they can go out and do with the Cub Scouts or with Scouts BSA. Things like a fishing day or a photo scavenger hunt in the local park. We have the resources to help you plan stuff like that and to help you market it. And we're really excited to do that. And we think that if we're able to convey to our school districts that this is a good solution for those families that need that opportunity to get outside, that they're going to be excited to share that with families that those school districts serve. And we're going to recruit some new scouts out of that. And the last point I wanted to make is that it is possible, and we're going to get more into it here in just a minute, to recruit a scout in the spring and keep them advanced, keep them funded all the way to summer camp. And if we can do that, I think we have a really good shot of retaining those scouts through the whole scouting program if we can get them to summer camp if they join in March or April. We're also working on an updated version of our family orientation guide, which we try to give to new families. One thing about these family orientation guides is that it needs to have the right amount of information in it. It kind of needs to have everything in it that is important for new families to know without having too much information and being intimidating for folks. And so sometimes it's kind of a balancing act to put the right stuff in there. So as we develop this family orientation guide and get it ready to kind of be available for our spring recruitment campaign, we might be looking to you for some feedback on what should be in that guide. What do you feel, as the folks who have the boots on the ground, is the information that needs to be presented to new families without having a bunch of stuff in there that they can learn later that is just going to be too much for them to absorb at once. So look forward to us asking you for some feedback about making this the best guide that it can possibly be. Okay, so I know that I talked about this a little bit. Maybe I talked over Harry a little bit. I apologize, Harry, if I did that. But I will kick it over to you to talk about working with school districts.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Before I touch on that topic, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here this evening and taking part in this presentation and discussion. I think, as many of us know, a key part of our mission with this organization is to invite and make an opportunity for as many young people and families to be involved with our program as possible. We know it changes lives. We know it changes our community. So we all have a little role to play in this campaign that's coming up. So here's another part of it. So working with school districts has always been part of our traditional fall joint scouting campaigns. Now, as we discovered last fall and as we expect this spring, we probably won't be able to do our traditional strategy of inviting ourselves into classrooms and lunchrooms and evangelizing on behalf of scouting and then inviting folks to join scouting nights. But as we know, this reaching out through the schools is one of the best ways to reach a large number of families and a large number of kids and parents. So what we're planning to do, and this will be, I think, largely a combined effort between our professional team who may already have contacts in superintendent offices, as well as with many principals in our public school districts, to distribute calendars and other information that we provide to let families know about the campaign and about the events that we have planned for them so that they can learn about scouting. So we know that many school districts are already happy to accommodate us in this way. I know that even in locations like Cecil County, where we haven't had physical access to the schools to recruit in the past, they've been willing to distribute calendars and information to folks. So we figure that by distributing that information to a large number of people right off the bat, we'll be able to get at least some of them to open it in their peach jar packet and take a look and get interested. So one of the many tools we have for promoting our events. So and sort of as Dan touched on before, really the goal and the messaging with this campaign is to present scouting, our local packs and troops as an opportunity for folks to get outside and get out of the rut they've been stuck in for the last year, and do some fun stuff together as a family and grow together. So next slide, please, Dan. So here you can see a sample calendar of events that our team was able to put together ahead of this campaign. So these are all examples, but they're a good list of the sorts of things that we would encourage you folks to think about setting up with your pack or your troop, that we can then coordinate on a district level or as a school district by school district basis to distribute to families. So some examples you have on there is a fishing day. This is seems to be local to the Two Bays area, so they've got Ackridge Scout Reservation as their spot, but of course, any local park with a pond that lets you fish could be an option for a fishing day. A stargazing event, scavenger hunts, traditional drive-through signups. I know that Sussex District held an event like this in October of this year, a good COVID-safe opportunity for folks to sign up for scouting. S'mores and sing-alongs, so an evening event, STEM events, nature hikes. I see snipe hunting on there. Sounds like a fun one as well. So lots of different opportunities to put on. And I'll point out that, some of these are sort of more high effort, sort of more logistical than others, right? Maybe doing a fishing day requires more supplies than just doing a nature hike together in the woods and letting people explore and telling them about scouting while we're out there. So there's lots of flexibility in terms of options, whether events take place at the community level, being collaborated on by a group of packs or troops that are nearby to one another, or whether they're put on by individual units. There's lots of different options on here. So we'll be reaching out in the coming weeks to start getting the gears working and greasing the wheel towards getting some good ideas on paper for us to be able to send out to school districts. And I'll point out as well, I think this is in the other slide, I think this is in the next slide partially too, but we have lots of opportunities to execute on this plan, not just by reaching out to students in school districts, but also by distributing information with every source that we can. We live in a time where it's super easy to advertise using social media. It's a way to get our message in front of the eyes of thousands of people in many cases, whether you have community Facebook groups like the MOT residence page in Delaware, or the Northeast page in Maryland, or your local Nextdoor app, which will often see a lot of engagement, especially if a post gets a few likes and comments. So lots of different options to share these strategies. But of course, as we know, coming up with the plan and telling people about the plan is only a small percentage of the effort that goes towards a successful recruiting campaign. And we know that the rest of that gets done when we execute that plan. So it's really important that we stick to our plan, come up with a clear plan for each of us at the unit level, but also that we're following through on that plan and communicating with folks. So really the first step towards executing this plan is to choose your recruitment options at the unit level. And you can do this with a unit committee meeting, with a unit parent meeting, even as a PLC or green bar meeting if you're a troop, and figure out how you'd like to reach out to folks and what kind of event you might like to put on or be involved with to help recruit more scouts. So the who, what, where, when, and why of your plan. The second step will be to use and be aware of your tools and resources. You've got stuff like Scoutbook, Facebook events, community pages, like I said, Nextdoor app GroupMe to remind not only your team members, but the community as well, and folks who may be interested in your event that it is going on. And then the third step will be to communicate and follow up. This is one of the hardest steps to do, but also one of the most important. It's important that we're asking ourselves, is everyone doing what they said they'd do as part of this plan? Are we on schedule? Do we need to ask for help? Please never be afraid to ask for help from another scouting volunteer or your local professional as well. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're more than happy to help out with the nuts and bolts or with the big picture thinking. And then, is everything working? Do I need to modify the plan? Do we need to reschedule something because it's raining? Did we not get a lot of interest? Do we need to promote more? It's important to be thinking about all these steps as we continue along. And then, another critical step is how should we follow up with our potential recruits and remember to stay in touch with them. I think something, in scouting, we often like to encourage people and kind of nudge folks down the road towards, a path of personal discovery and letting them discover stuff. But I think, as we go down the road with this recruitment plan and start having events, it's going to be really important that we're able to make the ask of folks and say, hey, we'd love to have you in Pack 252 or Troop 902. We'd like you to join us. Here's an application. We'd love to see you at our next meeting. Here are the details. And if you don't hear back from folks, or if you don't get a chance to make that ask, and you've collected contact information, then reach out to those folks and keep giving them the opportunity that we have to offer to them, and never say no on somebody else's behalf. So I think that is the meat and bones of this slide. So this is a sample calendar that your unit may use and maybe a good guidebook to working through the recruiting process this year. So we've got a few, I'm not going to list all of these because it would take me all night, but we've got a few highlighted on here that are really important. So the first one that's coming up in the sort of next month or so is to meet with your local professional or with district volunteers, maybe if your district has a membership chair, or if you've got a commissioner or a district commissioner that works with you closely, to develop your recruitment plan, brainstorm, talk about it with parents, talk about it with scouts, and figure out what you're gonna do. Another important step that isn't highlighted, but that's right below that one, is to ensure that your unit has a new member coordinator. Now, I know that this role often falls on Cub Masters or committee chairs or Scout Masters, folks that are already super involved in the life of the unit and working with everyone. But it can be super valuable to have a member of your team, your unit, who's dedicated to introducing new families to scouting and making sure that people are okay as they begin their scouting journey. So there's plenty of resources that you can find online about this position, but definitely one to prioritize if you don't already have one, adding to your unit committee in the next couple months. Next, we have kind of a touch base, making sure we know that the plan's going well, making adjustments. Down there, we have Be a Scout unit leads. So we do have an online system for applications that hopefully everyone is reasonably familiar with by now. And that's the beascout.org system that you all should have access to if you're a Key 3 member of your unit through my.scouting.org. So you'll see leads come up in there, you'll see applications come up in there, and it's important to be on top of that, making sure we're checking and responding and letting people know the information that they're asking for. And then as we get kind of further into the year and we've done our recruitment, we want to really focus on keeping people involved into the summertime. We know that a big factor in keeping people in scouting, keeping scouts and families involved, is making sure that people can attend summer camp. Having that experience is often pivotal and central to the scouting year. So we want to offer people that opportunity and do the best that we can to encourage them to go and make it possible. I believe that was my last slide for this section. I believe now I'm turning it back over to Mr. Jim Demas.
And it helps if I take myself off mute. Thank you, Harry. So one of the other topics we talked about was advancement. Not only having good activities for the families to engage in, but also to ensure that our new Cubs and our new Scouts are advancing. On the Cub Scout side, when we're bringing people in the spring, you don't have to stress about trying to get them caught up with what your den leaders have been doing with the dens all year round. That's fine. Explain to the parents that no, you don't have to get all caught up to the wolf or the bear rank. Instead, get them their Bobcat as soon as you can, and encourage them just to have fun and go on the activities. If they can go to day camp or resident camp with your pack or with your troop, that's great. And if they can't, we need to have other activities going on in the spring and the summer, so we see them on a regular basis, and they're all excited to be with us in the spring and summer, and then they're sticking with us in the fall. Next slide. So there's lots of advancements and awards that we can do in scouting. I've mentioned the Bobcat rank for the new Cub Scouts. The Summertime Activity Award is I think, the biggest one in Cub Scouts, because to earn it, you just have to show up in June, and once in July, and once in August. And if you're showing up on a regular basis and you're having fun with the unit, you're more likely to come back in September. There's also the Outdoor Activity Award, where you go, you have to attend summer camp, either day camp or resident camp, and then do other activities. And both of those you wear proudly on your uniform. For Scouts BSA, it's having the older Scouts work with the new Scouts on earning their Scout rank, learning the Scout Oath and Law, and then the outdoor Scout skills that they need for their tenderfoot and second class and first class rank. Teaching them how to use a knife safely for tote and chip, and how to build fires for firemanship. Doing merit badges in small groups, and hopefully going to summer camp and doing everything in that first year program, whether it's called Brown C or something else. And all units have the opportunity to earn the Conservation Good Turn Award, and the Historic Trails Award, and the Messengers of Peace, and the Nova Awards, and there's more and more and more. There's lots of awards and advancements that you could do with your unit, so the kids are getting stuff and feeling good about being there and helping with that retention.
All right.
So Harry had a minute to catch his breath, and now we're back to you, Harry.
All right. So as we all know, a big part of being able to participate in the scouting program is having the ability to afford that program. So as we know, families joining in the spring have an awesome opportunity to dive headfirst into scouting and attend day camp or resident camp. But something that we really wanted to keep in mind as we were working with our team of volunteers to develop this plan was to remember that the cost of being a scout can be prohibitive for some families, and it can be a struggle to afford fees for day camp or for resident camp as well. So it's very important that we keep in mind that we should present as many opportunities as we can to help new families overcome the financial obstacles that they may have to participating in scouting and attending summer camp. So next slide, I think. So at the Delmarva Council, we are committed to helping scouts and families make scouting as affordable as possible for themselves. And a big part of that is that we are able to offer a spring popcorn sale this year. So similarly to our fall sale, and perhaps more so, the spring popcorn sale will largely be an online sale. So it can be a great idea to plan kind of a blitz, 2-week, 3-week popcorn sale immediately after your recruitment event. To kind of go ahead and, popcorn online is really one of the easiest and simplest kind of no-brainer fundraisers that you can do. I know that the logistics of take orders and traditional show and sell popcorn can be challenging at times, But online popcorn is super easy. I mean, as long as that scout is able to get that link that they can send out to anyone, they can call family members, they can call family friends or teachers or relatives that they know and ask them to buy popcorn and support them. And as we know, the majority of the proportion of all of those sales goes straight back to the unit and to helping those scouts afford participation in scouting. So it's definitely a great option to provide to new families and to existing families as well. We do have a limited amount of product that will be available for show and sell this spring, but that's largely leftover inventory for the fall. So we expect this to be mostly an online popcorn sale. But even as we think about an online sale and how easy it might be to do, it's important to set goals and help scouts and families plan how much popcorn they'd need to sell in order to achieve their goal of attending summer camp. So for example, if somebody was joining a troop that was planning to attend Rodney or Henson for the summer, they're likely going to need to make up a large portion of that camp fee by selling popcorn, and that'll be individualized to each family. So maybe they want to raise 50% or 75% or even all of that cost of attending camp through selling popcorn. So really something that you can design and tailor and plan with each new family. So as we all know, popcorn may not be the ideal fundraiser for everyone and may not raise the most money for every scout and every unit. So we do have the opportunity, or you do, I should say, at the unit level, have the opportunity to do other fundraisers as well. So you may choose to raise funds through those means. The only thing that we'd ask if you do is to remember to refer to the BSA money earning application and reach out to your district people or your district executive if you have any questions. The BSA money earning application is a simple form that you need to fill out and submit to do an external fundraiser, and you can consider this a Delmarva Council top tip. That document, as with many scouting documents, can be found very easily simply by Googling the name of the document. You'll see a web address that usually begins with scouting.filestore.com. Or something to that effect. It'll be a PDF file, and those are always the updated official scouting documents that you're looking for. So that's always an easy way to find those. And then, yeah. So is this me or is this someone else, Dan?
I'd be back to Jim, I believe. Is that right, Jim?
Oh, you're doing such a great job, Harry. You can keep going, but I'll go too. So we've thrown a lot of stuff at you tonight, and it can seem like a big deal, but I think we can all do our best here and make a wonderful spring recruitment drive. As these guys alluded to before, consider who in the unit can help recruit and engage new families. This is not something that one person can do. It's going to take a group of people. Somebody who's great at talking to new families, somebody who's great at organizing the events, somebody who's great at posting on Facebook. Who are the adults who the committee could bring in that don't already have 7 hats to help work on this? And I'm very pleased that the committee started these discussions in January, so we have several months to figure this out. And then talking to your district executive like Harry or Dan, to get some more ideas and to see what resources are available, and start having during your committee meetings, think about what your unit wants to do, what activities you want to do to recruit people into your unit. And again, this is the same slide that we started with at the beginning. We're hoping the vaccine's going to be rolling out, the nice weather is going to be rolling out. We want to take advantage of that, and the people who desperately want to get out and be with other people and enjoy the outdoors, and we can take advantage of that by all working together. But we need to be prepared and have a plan in place to do that, so we can help people get out and scout. I also hope that you can think about who these people are and bring them to the February roundtable, the district roundtables, and let's have more discussion about this in smaller groups, so we can work. Units can help each other brainstorm ideas and best practices, so we can all be successful.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Harry, everybody else who spoke at the roundtable tonight or helped plan all of the things that we talked about tonight. I'm really encouraged by the amount of people that I see in attendance at tonight's meeting. That really tells me that you're feeling the same thing that I feel, that, there's a strong need for us to grow scouting in our communities. And there's a strong need in our community now more than ever for scouting. And if our needs are aligned with the needs of the community, then that means that this is our moment. And I really think that the people that are here tonight are going to rise to the occasion, and that we can have a strong spring recruitment campaign if we all work together. So we do have a couple minutes left. If there are any questions or awesome ideas that this has inspired in anyone, then there's some time here to share those. Okay, well, that's all right too. So this is recorded.
Hey,
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry about that. I couldn't find I set my laptop on top of my desktop and I kept grabbing the mouse trying to make the laptop work. It just took me a minute to figure it out. This presentation tonight, I understand it will be made available and you'll have that and you can get it to me.
Yes, this has been recorded, so we'll make sure to send this out to all of our unit leaders, our district volunteers, put it on our Facebook pages so that everyone has access to it.
That's fantastic. I enjoyed your presentation tonight. Also, just something that we were just talking about here recently, as far as recruiting and retention, something I think a lot of units may lack, and I'm not trying to lecture, but there's no relationships between the troop leadership and the pack leadership. I know from my experience, if the troop leadership is keeping in constant contact with the Cub Scouts, their parents, inviting them out, and inviting them to activities or courts of honor, and building that relationship, that also helps with crossovers as well as trust in the troops, so these Cub parents can feel comfortable turning their scouts loose with adults. They feel comfortable, they know them, not with strangers. That adds to anything from tonight.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
When you have those AOLs that are going to cross over, and you're saying to those kids and those parents, I want to take your kids out in the woods for a week away from mommy and daddy, that doesn't just happen. You need to cultivate that relationship over months or even years so that those families are comfortable with the troop leadership, with the scouts in the troop, so they have enough opportunities in the spring to maybe do some camping and going on some day events or troop meetings, so that when summertime comes around, they can all go to Camp Rodney and be in the Brown Sea program and have a great time. Absolutely.
I'd like to add to what Jim said. In the world we live in now, it's two troops. My pack keeps close ties with the boy troop that shares our chartered organization and the girl troop that meets 5 minutes away from where we are. We have a den chief from the girl troop, and we try to do as many things as we can with the boy troop.
Great, thank you, Peter. So one question in the chat that I see from Todd that Harry's already mentioned, I just wanted to add a little bit to it. But Todd had asked about a written blurb to use, say, like for a church bulletin or something like that. In addition to blurbs and stuff like that we can try to get you, you guys also have access to the Bsa Brand Center with your login that you use from iDot Scouting. And if you ever need images, logos, stuff like that you could put in a church bulletin or put on your Facebook page, you do have access to that. And maybe somebody like Harry could share the link in the chat. But that's another one where Google, our other district executive, Mr. Google, can help you get that link if you just type in Bsa Brand Center, and that's going to be the first thing that pops up.
Very good. Thank you.
Hey, Dan, it's Mike in Chop Tank here. Question, I know Maryland schools, they're not doing the whole in-person thing, but I know we've got some private schools, all over our council. Are we able to, do take-home flyers, JSN flyers, if those churches or organizations are willing to allow us to get in and do something like that?
Yeah, all of those printable materials that we've sort of used in the past, whenever we've been able to go into schools, we still have those. So we still have the flyers, we still have bring a friend cards. We have door hangers now, specifically for membership as well. So all that stuff we can still get you. And the best way to get that is probably to put in a request with your district executive. They'll kind of send it up the chain to the employee who prints those, and we'll make sure we get those to you. So, I'd say give it at least 10 days or so, a couple of weeks to make sure we get them to you in the time that you need them.
Yeah, it just seems like the private schools in Maryland, their attendance has gone way up because public's not meeting in person, even though they're talking about with some of the counties to turn around and start, meeting February and March timeframe. So it's good to know that availability is there, so we can kind of put some info on there, get some flyers printed out, and get some kids in the units, because I know our pack here, it's hard to keep the little ones organized and get them focused, but especially when it comes down to being on Zoom. So we're definitely moving forward and kind of using some different things. Hopefully when school gets back in person, they're talking about starting it next month, then we can, maybe give it a month, see how things go, and possibly get in there and do some recruitment to build these units back up to get more kids back into scouting or get them into scouting. So it's great to know that availability is there, so we can get those flyers printed and get out and do that. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Mike.
And Mike, I'll just add on the topic of flyers. We've got plenty that we can print onto as well. They've got that white space at the bottom. Those are mostly Cub Scout themed flyers. But if you do get a chance to look through the Bsa Brand Center, which I'd recommend everybody do, there's a few different links or pathways you can appearing in the chat here. There are lots of flyer templates on there that you can download as PDFs. And then if you have the ability, you can print those out yourself with whatever you like in the white space at the bottom. So plenty of opportunities for us to get flyers for you, but also if you want to just print them yourself, you can get them from the Brand Center too. There's plenty of different designs.
Awesome. Yeah. I saw Dan at when our troop camped at Ackridge, and he was gracious enough to go inside and grab me some flyers so we can print on those for the pack to get that moving. So I appreciate you Dan for doing that. And we'll
Absolutely.
definitely
Thanks for recruiting scouts.
Hey, I mean, it's something I love to do. Putting kids in the program is kind of one of my passions. Always, I love doing it when I was a DE, and even love more so doing it as a volunteer. So it's one of those things that, that's one of my favorite things to do.
You got it. Okay, so a couple things in the chat that I don't want to miss. First of all, just a great point from Seth about Scout Sunday. So, Scout Sunday is kind of like scouting for food. It's an opportunity for us to be seen being scout-like. So definitely recommend that units participate in that. Like Seth said, maybe they would even give you a couple minutes to talk about why scouting is great for the community and why members of the church may want to have their kids in that program. So take advantage of that. Tommy also asked a question about the calendar that we showed that has had the different events that units were offering to the community on it. So the idea right now is probably that would be organized by school district, and that we would just collect all of the different units events that we're offering them in that district and put them out to all of the schools. often what we find with many, but not all the school districts, is if we just send that calendar to the district office, they'll send it out to all the schools for us. And that saves us a lot of time and really helps us get the word out. So hopefully that answers your question, Tommy, that right now, it would just be kind of all of the events advertised to all of the schools in that school district.
Can I say something?
Please.
When you send those out, they're probably sending them out to the schools. We've been homeschooling for this is our 3rd year, and I had my reporting today to the board. And our case manager usually works with 60 to 70 families, and there's several case managers in our county. She has 450 plus herself this year. So if you send them out to your local school boards, ask if you can also send them out through the contact at the board that does the homeschooling reporting and all of that. They might be able to send those out, because what we do with our program is we use a lot of the merit badges and a lot of the rank advancements, and a lot of those things are actually part of our curriculum. So you might actually pull things in. My son is part of a troop and my daughter is a lone scout. So there's opportunities to make connections a lot at this moment.
And Mel, if we could, maybe we can circle back, and if you know some of those families, we can kind of do, an event where we can kind of talk to them either about lone scouting or maybe joining a pack or a troop in the area. So
that's the challenge. They never communicate and they won't pass out anybody's information. So if you ask the boards, they're only going to send it out to the principals. They're not going to send it out to the families that are homeschooling, if that makes sense.
It does. And maybe we can talk offline. Maybe you've got some contacts with those different groups, that maybe no. Okay. Gotcha. We'll figure it out. We'll work on it.
Very separate.
Yeah, but thank you, Melanie. That's a good point. We don't want to leave those families out of out of everything that we're doing. And I know or have been told before that homeschool families in particular are really interested in extracurriculars, because they're looking to give their students the chance to socialize and be around some other kids since they're homeschooled. So definitely want to make those connections available to them. Any other questions or points or anything I missed in the chat that we want to talk about?
Yeah, I have a point. Melanie, in my previous life, I was a scouter in Manhattan, and there was a troop on the Upper West Side, 520, and the Pack 520. They're still there. It's 20 years ago, and they had lots of homeschool kids, because there was some group of homeschool kids that got together for social interaction, and they were able to penetrate that and recruit there. Is there any such group that your children belong to?
Most of them are very they're not connected very well, or they already are in Girl Scouts, or they don't really want to do Scouts. And I can't reach the ones that are new to homeschooling and don't know about the resource.
Well, my daughter's in Girl Scout. She's a brownie bear, and she loves being a brownie bear.
Dan, building on something that Michael said, one of the other things we talked about in our meetings over the past month is the possibility of doing a virtual event for recruitment, and then saying, I hope you had a good time on our virtual scavenger hunt or whatever it is, and we hope you come out to our physical event to get out to our hike next month, or to our fishing derby, or whatever it is as well. Hopefully we're able to get out in March and April, but we may need to engage people a little bit in virtual events as well, where they're in their own living room and they're safe, and make them feel comfortable enough to come out and join us.
Yeah, and if your unit plans a virtual event, you can use some kind of means to get folks to register for it, like Eventbrite. That one's free. and that way you'll have the contact information of all of those people that attended that virtual event, and you can reach out to them again later whenever we can get outside or get them to a PAC meeting and follow up with them. So yeah, Jim's absolutely right. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to pass it to our Director of Field Service, Paul Odom, to bring us to a close.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for everybody for being with us tonight. Special shout out to the group of volunteers that helped come up with this spring recruitment plan. We asked them to do the impossible, and that was to put this together in 4 hours. So for the past 4 weeks, they've met every Monday night for an hour and put together the spring recruitment plan, got a lot of great input. I know they were sharing ideas in between the meetings. So I want to say thank you to them. As you can see this year, as we all know, it's a new year. We're very thankful for that. We're out of 2020. But at the same time, we have new challenges in front of us this year. One being that we're coming into the spring. We weren't able to do our recruitment last year, so we have some units that need some help to get back to their regular numbers. And this spring recruitment plan is what we have to get out there. And it's not our traditional recruitment plan. COVID has pretty much torn up our traditional recruitment plan and thrown it away. So now we have these new challenges, and we're looking forward to getting out there, getting out and scouting, helping every unit out there. If a unit does need help, if they don't have the manpower or the know-how and just need help, please do not hesitate to reach out to other units, to other volunteers, to your local commissioners, professionals. We are here to help. So just want to say thank you. This is a different year, and we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, and just very thankful for everybody being on tonight. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, do not hesitate to reach out. You can send any questions that you have to membership@dmvc.org. Again, that's email address, membership@dmvc.org. If you have any questions, need any of the resources, and we'll get this recording and PowerPoint put out. I'll have the PowerPoint on Facebook, and we'll get the recording sent out. So thank you again to everybody. Everybody have a good night, and get out there and scout.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, nice job, guys.